17 most unfortunate lottery winners ever. Many of us can only ever dream about winning the lottery, and we're sure you've already mentally spent the money that you haven't even won. Becoming penniless after winning the lotto is something that we are sure did not cross your mind while you were mentally spending your millions. Because, of course, you would have invested some of the money wisely, right? Well, these people didn't do that, and the outcome was disastrous. Number 17. When enough is never enough. This is Amanda Clayton, who is $1 million richer thanks to Make Me Rich. Despite her incredible win, she continued to collect her food stamps. Shocking, to say the least. She was found guilty of welfare fraud and sentenced to 9 months probation and a hefty fine. Sadly, Amanda passed away from unnatural causes at the tender age of 25. Number 16. Nice guys finish last. This is actually a very sad story and a terrible end for Billy Bob Harrell. He won a jackpot of $31 million and ended up giving most of it away to the less fortunate, and to those that pretended to be less fortunate. Due to constantly being harassed by family, friends, and of course every Tom, Dick, and Harry, Billy had to change his phone number several times. Number 15. Going, gone. That's exactly what happened to the money that Lara and Robert Griffith won. They received $2.7 million, and it changed their lives forever, but not for the good. From a couple that hardly ever argued, the pair didn't stop fighting. They spent their money on a Porsche, a fancy house, and everything their hearts could dream of. 6 years after their win, Lara confronted Robert about having an affair. He drove away in their Porsche, the marriage was over, they lost their home, and they were left with nothing but memories. Number 14. Your money or your life. And we don't mean that in any funny way. Aruj Khan won $1 million in 2012, and literally a day after collecting the check, he was no longer alive. Foul play was suggested, but the initial reports came back clear until a family member suggested they test for cyanide, and that's exactly what they found. He didn't even have a chance to become a dumb lotto winner because he wasn't with us long enough to enjoy $1. It was suspected that it was his second wife and her father, but as of June 17, no arrests have been made. Number 13. The tables have turned. This is Alex Asik. He won roughly $500,000. Many thought this guy was amazing when he used his money to open an NGO to support victims of abuse. The NGO ran for years and everything went well until the truth was revealed. Alex was guilty of the exact crimes he was trying to save people from. He was found guilty of 2 offenses, one in 1993 and another in 2000. He did do his time in jail, but this was like taking his offense and making a mockery of the justice system. When the public heard, they actually went after him and caused him severe injuries by hitting him with a pipe. Number 12. Keeping it in the family. Let's meet Jeffrey Dampier, who won $20 million in 1996. The first thing he decided to do with the money was to see his dream become a reality and launched his gourmet popcorn business. That was all great. Where he began running into problems was when he thought it would be a good idea to have an affair with his sister-in-law. She, in turn, along with another boyfriend, decided to rob Dampier. The robbery went pear-shaped, and the boyfriend ended up turning the gun on his girlfriend. Number 11. Back to basics. Sharon Tirabassi didn't have an easy life. She was a single mom, living off welfare and struggling to make ends meet. She won $10 million and spent it lavishly. She bought a massive house, fancy cars, designer clothing, had amazing parties, took trips, and gave a lot of it away. The only thing she didn't do was save. Less than 10 years after her big win, she's riding the bus to work again, living in a rented house and working. We'll give her credit though. She did put a bit away for her kids, which they will inherit when they turn 26. Number 10. Payback time. Keeping secrets is never a good idea. Thomas and Denise Rossi had been married for 25 years when she won the lottery. Instead of celebrating with her partner, she kept her lips sealed and promptly asked for a divorce. 3 years after the divorce, Thomas discovered the truth about his ex-wife's winnings and promptly sued her for his fair share. You see, under California's law, all assets have to be disclosed during a divorce, which she didn't do. She had to hand over all of her winnings to her husband and lost everything. Number 9. The winning ticket. That's what John Ross Jr. had in 2012 when he managed to win $70,000 every year for 20 years. An incredible win and a huge relief for anyone. His initial plans were to purchase a car, and that was that. Strangely though, Ross Jr. ended up being arrested for trying to steal a Honda Civic. He landed up in jail and had to use some of his wins to bail himself out. It's so bizarre, as with his wins, he could have bought himself a really nice car as opposed to stealing a family sedan. Number 8. Money changes everything. You have to be 18 or over to win the lottery if you live in America, and 16 years or older if you're in the UK. Callie Rogers was just 16 when she received £1.9 million. She spent the money on booze, tattoos, a sports car, plastic surgery, and a lot of other things she shouldn't have. She was seriously unhappy and just wanted everything to go away. She luckily bought a bungalow and a home for her mom, so she still had that. Her story has a happy ending though. These days, she's clean, she's a mom, and although she's broke, she's very happy. Number 7. Easy money. Willie Hurt from Michigan won a massive $3.1 million in 1989. You would think, with that kind of money, you would be able to turn your life around, but that's not the case with Hunt. He spent the bulk of his money fueling an addiction and a divorce. Just 2 years after his big win, he was penniless and facing criminal charges. A good idea would be for the winners to receive some form of counseling before they're handed over the money. Wouldn't you agree? Maybe. Number 6. Set the record straight. Many lists of not-so-clever Lotto winners include Justin Ryder, who won $600,000 in Canada. Many stories circulate about how Justin had a fixation with Goldmember, the spin-off of James Bond's Goldfinger. It's been reported that he spray-painted some of himself with a gold lead-based paint and died shortly thereafter. However, don't worry, that story was debunked, saying it's completely false, along with the photo that circulated with it. That photograph is actually one of Payback, a Polish rapper, and has nothing to do with Justin Ryder. Strangely though, there seems to be no information online about where Ryder is now or how he spent his money. Number 5. Just reward? We don't think so. Sure, Evie could have played things out differently, but to have her life ended for what she did seems a bit extreme. But let us back up a little. Evie won the lottery in 1991 and walked away with $5 million. Her and her husband were already pretty well off, as Evie's husband Joseph worked as a doctor earning $20,000 a month. Because Evie ran the finances, he wasn't too aware of what was happening with the winnings, but was horrified when he learned that Evie had given $2 million away to a child from a previous marriage and another child from another man. On top of that, she squandered the rest of the money on frivolous things. In the end, Joseph took Evie's life and was found guilty. The cherry on top, he had the audacity to ask Evie's family to help pay for the funeral expenses. Number 4. Such bad luck. Winning the lotto, that is. A former bin man in the UK, Michael Carroll, was overjoyed to win $15 million in the lotto at the age of 19. At the time, he was only earning $45 a week as a garbage man. Michael did what any 19-year-old would do and blew all the money. He had a penchant for fast cars, women, and alcohol. He was even called the King of Chavs and found himself in quite a few compromising positions. He ended up losing everything and allegedly had to ask for his job back. Number 3. Money can't buy happiness. Jonathan Vargas, like Michael Carroll, was also 19 when he won a lot of money. He received $35 million in the Powerball and fell victim to a man named Jimmy the Mouth of the South Hart. Hart convinced Vargas to invest his money in creating a bikini wrestling league, which would be called, wait for it, Restlicious. We're sad to inform you that Restlicious never took off and Vargas reportedly lost everything. Number 2. Save it for a rainy day. Nope, just spend, spend, spend. That's the answer Vive Nicholson gave to anyone who asked her what she was going to do with her lottery winnings. And she did just that. It was 1961 when she won a substantial amount of money. In today's terms, it would have amounted to $7 million. Sadly, 4 years after her win, her husband died in a car accident and she was left alone and broke. To bring in money, she ended up working odd jobs. She got into alcohol and even tried to end everything, but eventually became a Jehovah's Witness. She passed away in 2015, and the money most certainly did not bring her happiness. Number 1. For the greater good. We think that's what wigmaker Yanita Lee thought when she blew her $18 million winnings on political donations and campaigns. Within a decade, she was left with nothing. It's not all bad. Like, there was a reading room installed at Washington's University of Law named after her, and she was one of the main contributors to the Democratic Party. But her philanthropic ways got her into trouble, along with a little gambling, and she lost everything and filed for bankruptcy in 2001.